Hello, everyone. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker Training. I'm Richard Carlin, creator of FMTraining.tv, where every day I got more than one headset on. We are doing great FileMaker training. So today and tomorrow is Christian Schmitz. We have 25 ways of improving your database. Christian doesn't even really need to be here. I could tell you 25 ways to improve your database with his product, right? I mean, there's only 7,893.2 of them, and we're going to discuss some of those today. I'm actually in the middle of wrestling with image format issues, so at some point we'll have to come back to that and talk to him about that. With that in mind, we're going to pivot to Christian Schmitz's product here, which is MonkeyBread. The short version today is that this is an essential product. He's won Product of the Year a number of times from Claris, and us having him on the show is almost a guaranteed way for a couple things to happen. One, you'll see how great the product is. Even if you download it and use it in free mode, it does a ton of stuff in free mode. But then you can pay a couple bucks and get it to do all the paid things. And it will help you say yes to customers, because that's one of the things I try to teach Claris this. I said, we really need to say yes to customers. And they're like, what is that? You want to say yes, we can do that. Now there's stupid shit. People say, well, I'd like it to do this. And it's clearly beyond the pale, makes no sense. But I have a movie video in a container field, and I want a thumbnail to be created with my copyright information on a thumbnail that I can put in a separate container. That's like, you could never do that in a million years with FileMaker in its base configuration, but as soon as you put MonkeyBread plugin in there, then you can do things like that. You can edit PDFs, intensely edit existing PDFs. You can do a million different things. So with that in mind, we want to flip the script to Christian. Welcome to a new year.
This is the third year where Stephanie is writing us a nice advent calendar. In Germany, we count 24 days because on the eve of the 24th, we get our presents,
Oh, so I'm supposed to be singing on the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me, drag and drop in a database, right? I can sing
Yeah.
that. I'm going to get that out. I'll start playing that periodically. Okay, that's good. So day one is the database.
So
right?
we got 24 articles this year. We also got 24 last year and the year before.
That's a
Stephanie,
lot of singing. I'm going to need adult
sure
beverages for that. So it's a lot of singing.
Yeah. Those are 70 articles. They are not about the same thing repeating itself. So you get something new every article. So, and everyone can just go on our blog and find this blog post, and then they can follow us as the series starts. And today we will talk about as many items as we can fit within the hour. And we have more days reserved if you need more time, but otherwise we can spend the days with Q&A. So first day we have to set up a little database. And our database is about delivering gifts to children. And our monkey organized it. And so he needs a database. And we tell people how to set up a database. And because it's for beginners, we have to tell them in detail how to set up here just a little database. You see here 3 tables. They got some relationships. As you note, one table likes to know the other table, and people have several emails and several telephone numbers. And because it's for beginners, Stephanie even made a video about this, so everyone can, of course, watch that. But otherwise, we will just take the database from the last day, where we got the sample database, and it has all the little things built in, so we can go through it. So let's start with our tables. So we got over time a few more tables. As you know, you have new requirements, you add new stuff. So we have the giftee, the person who gets the gift. They have an address, a name, a location. They have a couple of containers here for the wish lists, weather. So we have a couple of functions in the scripts to do something on this person. And for example, we have a script to later get the weather for this location, and we put it in the field. And we have a table for phone numbers. And for phone numbers, we use text. We want to keep the zeros on the beginning. So we have a table for emails, for attached files, for some more data we need later. There's users, and there's also a gift table. And they have relationships. I don't think this is very fancy, it's just everything is basically linked to the giftee. So we have a layout here, we have a couple of layouts. So, yeah. I think with that, we go to the next one here. And it's about installing the plugin because, well, for this series, you need the plugin. So people download the plugin, they copy it to the plugins folder. And once they got that, there's a plugin installed. After that, I launched FileMaker. I don't know how many people I had who expect the plugin to show up instantly. Then we have a preference dialog, and there's installation videos if you need help.
Okay.
So, and now we come to drag and drop. And in this case, we want to have drag and drop with an overlay. So maybe find the script for it. So this is
So it's not just over a container, it's anywhere over the layout or just
so
over
in
an
this
area
case an overlay. So you have a little widget where you can drop a file
that's
onto
right.
it.
I remember that show. We did the show on this.
Yeah, and this is I think a nice thing. And let me find a picture.
Hey, Margaret, you want to try to put this in the BVA? That'd be another one to do.
Yeah, because we've
Does
been,
it work? Hey, does this overlay drag and drop image thing work on Windows? Is this Windows compatible right here?
Yeah, this should work on Windows.
Mm.
So let's see. So we have a location, that's a frame. We have a picture. We have it movable by background. Yeah, we have the drag and drop attached, and we have a drop action. So get file and drag drop. If someone wants to use this, there's a common problem people have, and this is going to security and actually allow the plugin to do this. Let's go here somewhere. So there is validate cross file plugin in access.
Okay.
You need this checkbox, otherwise the plugin can't.
Wait. I have a question. Is that a checkbox? Is that a checkbox that's always in there? Validate cross-file plugin access?
No,
Is
it turned up, I think, 19.2. You only have it in newer files. If this thing is missing, everything is allowed for backwards compatibility, you know. So you need this for the plugin to be able to use SQL and script triggers. And
okay.
so this is important. So we put here a script drag and drop to be called when you drop something. And this, what does it do?
No.
It does make a new
privilege sets.
Make a new window.
Access.
And creates a record for the new
I don't
file.
see it. Margaret, I don't see it. I'm in 21 dot.
Yeah, you may need to make a new file.
Oh, if the file is old enough, then it won't have that checkbox. Even if it's on a modern version of FileMaker, that's interesting.
Well, how do you, to add or edit, or you use the tools and extended privileges tab?
Yeah. So it's named FM plugin.
Oh, I see. That's right. Because you can extended privileges or share, and you can add. Yeah, ClayMac. Yeah, I'm sorry. That there you can really build your own extended privileges yourself that do things. It's something that almost no FileMaker developers use, and ClayMac was always wondering why that never took off in the community.
Yeah. So if you like to only enable it for MBS plugin, you can put in the plugin code from the plugin behind it. So instead of allowing it for all plugins, you can enable it only for specific plugin, but you need to know the 4-letter code.
You could turn it on for all plugins.
Yeah.
Or you could turn it on for a specific plugin, and you have to know the 4-digit code for that plugin. Did you register this code with Claris?
Well, this is the code I put into the plugin as the identifier to identify the plugin to FileMaker.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Okay.
18 years ago.
Okay.
I picked
Oh,
it on
I
my
see.
own. I told nobody.
Okay.
I was very hopeful that nobody would have a conflict. And actually, I think we had a conflict because I was using a Samba plugin project. And then we got complaints about people, well, if I have two plugins, it picks the wrong one for the functions.
Mm.
So internally, FileMaker references to a plugin function by this 4-letter code and the ID of the function.
So,
no.
so back up. So you don't need this if your plugin is just working on a file, but it's only, when do you need this specifically, Christian?
For
When
SQL and for script launching.
for launching it. So if the plugin wants to launch a script, this must be enabled.
Yeah.
Margaret, we must have turned this on somewhere because I think we do that. Don't we do that?
Well, if you don't have the extended privilege, if it doesn't exist,
Mm-hmm.
you have an old solution, so everything is allowed.
Oh, okay. So if you want to dial up the security, you should add that. Oh, enhanced.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you see what we're saying, Margaret? So
Yeah.
here's the rub with this. So it defaults to yes, we trust you by behavior,
Well, that's
but the reality
compatibility
is that
for
most people are not going to be like, I got to see like hot air balloon king going, I wonder what sort of external privileges I should just fucking add in here to improve security. I guarantee Ken has never had that thought.
So yeah, there was a blog post about 19.2, and here it was. I put it in for anyone to know. So there was a big discussion at the time of 19.1, and some people were worried about having a plugin use SQL to get the data out of a different file.
Of course, of course.
So they wanted to limit it, and then they put it in. And once that happened, I started to get support calls every week because script triggers don't work and the plugin is broken. And I had to explain it to people.
Yeah. Do moment.
So
Like,
in the documentation, I put it in. There's a checkbox in my database. So every function which triggers a script gets this notice added. So people don't
nice.
forget it.
Good.
So we set a track handler. So yeah, let's try it. The script does run. Let's see. I wanted to drop something. There's my picture. Does something happen here? No. Of course not. Let's use the script debugger to see if something happens. Yeah. So we get in the debugger, we get count 1, we get a file. So we check for the path. So the plugin tells you the path. You can decide what to do. You don't need to import all files, and you can, of course, import several files. So next we get a name, file name, we get the type, JPEG. We read the file in. If this doesn't give us an error, we make a new window. Yeah, there it is. New record, we put in the name and type and the file. Yeah, the picture is there. You see, beautiful landscape. And we close the window, and yeah. And you may have noticed that you didn't see it the first time I tried it. You don't see anything because the script is so fast that FileMaker doesn't bother to actually draw the layout. You know? You don't need any window freezing. It's so fast. But I can, of course, do here a little script pause. So you see something. So let's say 0.3.
Yeah, 0.3 is, I think Nick said 0.3 was what you had to slow down to get it to draw.
Yeah, it's long enough so we see it. And let's take another picture. So you
nice.
See
I like
okay,
that.
let's
Margaret,
go
we
to
need
the
that
table.
add-on.
Yeah, so here we have a couple of pictures. Yeah, some nice pictures. Okay.
That's really cool.
Wow, we need that in our solution, Margaret.
So you
Don't
can,
tell
of course, here you can have a mouse over effect. So if you move the mouse over, it can change the picture. This allows you, of course, to have a little graphics. So like it could show a graphics like drop here to import files. And then when you are over it with a mouse, you can say no drop here or something. You can give instructions. And of course, you can then have the script change the picture, so you can have a little animation of whatever, the monkey eating the files or so.
How long does
So,
the overlay hang out again? I forget. Does it basically just live
well,
there
we
for as
have a
long as
script
you start
here. Remove overlay. Actually, this doesn't bother to check which overlay. It just frees them all. So you can of course have several of them. So here's one. There's a second. You know, I have 3 monkeys. So it's just nice because you can show whatever graphics you like on the screen at every time. You can use it to give the user some guiding lines, show a splash screen, show some animation, and nowadays you can even have a web viewer in this overlay, so you can load some JavaScript to do some fancy stuff. So let's see. So drag and drop. Yeah, let me remove them, go back to the layout, and we check out what else is in the article. So the article explains how to do things. You can use set visible to show it or hide it whenever you need. The drag and drop attaches to the overlay. You can, of course, also attach the drag and drop to the whole window or to just a section of the window. So you can have your drag and drop control. In the script, you can decide what to do. So you can skip some files. You can check the file types. You can see if FileMaker loads them. But otherwise, I think drag and drop is done. Or do we have
Out of
any
curiosity, with
questions?
the files, if I was dropping like HEIF files and I wanted it to change the file type in the process of being dumped into the database, could it do that?
Yeah, of course. So here we have, you could detect the type. And you could say something like, if it's a hike file, then you want it converted. So here, something like if, and then we have this lovely function. What was it? Container, read image. Let's go to the help. And this will convert files from different types, like hike and hive, to the format you want, like PNG or JPEG. And it uses the functionality built into the operation system on Mac and Windows. So on Mac, hike and hive file formats, as well as now JPEG XL, are built into the operation system. You can use them with this function. And on Windows, Microsoft has this additional component for handling hive images. So you install it, and then the plugin can use it. And it will convert these files to the file format you like. And so it's just an extra step here to decide if it needs conversion, and then do the conversion. I think we have here a sample where we use here the file extension to detect the type, but also with the latest plugin, you can use the identify data function to detect if the file is not a JPEG, but a hike file. We found a bug last week and fixed it already for the next version.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Okay, so the next thing on our Elf Monkey, we have terms and conditions for our gift delivery service. So today we are talking about DynaPDF functions to work on PDF files. This is something simple, like just merging PDF files. You know, you can use FileMaker to append one PDF file to another PDF file. That's something built into FileMaker. But, well, it's not perfect.
All right. So as soon as you go to a customer and they talk about merging PDFs, you'll say FileMaker supports that, and they will promptly come up with some bullshit requirement that FileMaker won't do. And so you have to have the monkey.
Yes. So a common thing is that if you merge several PDFs together, you use the same fonts, you use the same logo images maybe, and DynaPDF can optimize that. So every font and every image is only stored once in the PDF file and not repeated. Also, we can do some magic to reduce the image sizes so your PDFs get smaller. So let's see. In this example, we just append something.
That's a good
So
question. That's a really, actually, that's another good one right there. You know, hey, Christian, Margaret, this comes up all the time, and I know quite a bit about it, but I think there should be a topic in the future someday on making PDFs. It's not just, well, it's FileMaker. We'll talk about it in the context of FileMaker, making PDFs smaller, because there's more than one thing you can do. In fact, there's at least two that I know of, and there's Christian probably knows more than that, right, Christian?
yeah, and I think we already had a couple of live streams in that direction.
Really? Okay, well then we should never
Yeah.
repeat them ever again.
No, and we can of course.
Well, it's like combining PDFs. The PDF's too big. Okay, so back up. Can I? All right, stop. But we still have this issue where we have giant PDFs, Christian, that we need to park up in the cloud because we generate a FileMaker, and they have images and shit in them, and which your product is helping me with that. And the rub is that they're too big to email. So how do we get them there? And we went round and round in circles about Claris Connect, doing it with Claris Connect, but we need to have Christian think about other ways. If we had a PDF, big PDF, how do we move it to a service, then get a link to the service and post it, right? Because that is a common problem. And that's a whole show. There's Optimize right here. Here we go.
Yeah, we have this optimize function. You specify a couple of things like the resolution you like to have, the file formats. You can defer between grayscale and color pictures, the JPEG quality
You have
want.
the flatten in here. You have flatten in here too, right? Flatten.
Yeah, and
Oh,
a
there it is
couple
right
of
there. Flatten.
options.
There it is right there. Flatten layers 128. So
Yeah.
everyone knows this. So Photoshop. PDFs are like Photoshop. You have layers in Photoshop, so each layer is like its own image, right? And the flatten takes just like a Photoshop file, it takes all the layers in PDF and smashes them together, recompresses, and you can put your girth units on a diet and get them down to a much smaller PDF.
Yeah. So there are a couple of things like scaling images to smaller size, like you don't need 1000 DPI, maybe 150, 300 are good.
And to be clear,
You-
these options are not natively in FileMaker, everyone. They're not there. I mean, yeah. So you have to have Monkey.
Yeah, we can delete invisible paths. So if there are drawings on the PDF which are not visible, we can remove them. We can delete private data, like some applications from Adobe store big data into the PDF file for editing. If you don't edit them anymore, you can remove them. You can also remove a few thumbnails and alternative pictures. So for example, you can have a picture as RGB picture, and you can have a CMYK version for the printer. If you don't need both because it's just an invoice, you can remove the other one. And you can convert all the colors to RGB or CMYK if you need that. And if you even want people to not be able to select text, you can convert all the text to drawings. That's something you can do. But that's not the topic of this script. This is a very easy script to just initialize DynaPDF and then open two containers and import all the pages from the PDFs and then save it to a new container. And this all happens in memory without temporary files.
Yeah, if you're actively building FileMaker solutions for people, the stuff in here comes up all the time. All the time. I've got one main customer that I service, obviously here, and this comes up all the time. It's always something. So
let's see. So yeah, okay. Oh, it's just a simple merge script. So let's go to the next day. And the next day brings Apple contacts. So here we have the idea that we would like to export entry for a Gifty to the Apple contacts database on our Mac, so we can synchronize it to the iPhone, and if someone is calling, we see the name for the phone number. For this, we got the new table for phone numbers. and emails. And so we have all the data. So let's see. The first thing we need to do is we need to use our contact store function to create a new contact and then set the values. That's what the script does here. There it sets the birthday, which is passed as JSON. It's not passed as a date value, because you can have birthdays without years. So birthday can only be day and months if you want. Then it adds here postal address, where we pass in the fields from our database. And then we add the phone numbers. And if you need, you can query contact content as a JSON, so you can inspect it. But otherwise, this script just creates the contact and add all the details. Let's see. So here's a full script. So this is something people love to have, just a button in your contacts database to just push it over to the address book.
Oh, this is actually really cool. I didn't know you could do this.
Yeah, it's a very detailed script. And on the end, yeah, it saves here by updating the contact. Let's see. It's a contact after setting the values. Yeah, that's exactly what we need. Or we need add contact, because when it's a new contact, so you can update or add contacts. You can also delete contacts as you need. And you can store this contact ID you get for later, because after maybe some days you may want to delete the contact, and then.
Yeah, I tried to delete your contact the other day. Database wouldn't let me. Prohibited action.
So I thought we could maybe try it.
Try it?
Yeah.
Try a demo here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Yes.
Go through in the debugger. You may want to try the plugin eventually, someday. So let's see. This contact, well, why does it have an ID already? So this is not in my database. It's in Stephanie. So where's the contact ID field? I need to reset the field. I don't see it. Oh, wait. That's a button. So let's look for the content ID field, contact ID here. Just put it somewhere, exit, so I can clear this, because you get different IDs for the contacts on different Macs, because every Mac has its own database. And okay, let's debug this, see if it works, or whether it works.
Does it work?
So we get a contact ID here. And now we step through, we put in the names. We build a JSON for the birthday. Where's my birthday? Here. I have all these global fields. You know what I could do? I could just press a key combination. Command, option, what was it? Fields? Yeah. So the fields are hidden. So next we add a postal address. We go to the phone portal, we add the phone numbers. Every phone number has its own ID, so we can actually later delete phone numbers by ID. The same for the postal addresses and the emails. They all get individual IDs in the database for the contacts. So let's see. So add contact. So, and here it is. So the moment I clicked the button, here the function to add the contact, it showed up on the contacts app. So now this synchronizes to my iPhone, and if this guy would call me, I would see that on the phone.
That is exceedingly nifty, frankly.
Yeah, one thing I shouldn't forget is that there are permission things. FileMaker has to be allowed to contact the database. So you can have your application ask for the status, whether it's allowed. And if not, you can call request access to show this dialog box telling here FileMaker wants to update your contacts database, steal all your data from the contacts, and it depends on what your script actually does. So you may need this script. Otherwise, just go to the system preferences and move the switch yourself. Any questions about contacts?
I think we're good. It's one of those things I have to fiddle up the script and then promptly make a mistake and then I'd come cry to you, Christian. But for the most part, it seems pretty simple to implement.
Yeah, so you can go on the overview article I had earlier, and then you can download the database and you can do a lot of copy and paste and then fix all the fields here. Okay, next day. What do we want to do today? We want to send out wish list forms. That was a nice idea to have PDFs users can fill in the wishes, then send back the PDF, and we can import that into the database. So we have a wish list PDF template. We load it with the DynaPDF functions, and then we go about editing the first page because, well, this PDF has only one page. Then we can define the colors to be used for the fields. So here are fields, and there is our back color. This is RGB, so it's a little bit more green than red and blue. And the border color is white. And then we have here a custom function to create text fields on the layout, and they just get some names and some labels. So then we use our trick to create a hidden text field to store our record ID. So when we get the PDF back, we can actually find the record based on this hidden ID. And as you know, we have to make the field hidden. So we mark it as hidden, as read-only, as invisible, and as no view. Which I think I remembered. One flag is for not printing it. The other one is for not showing it. And I think the third one is to hide it from the overview list of fields. So once we have the field set up, we can create the file. And yeah, when we have the file, yeah. And you may want to know the custom function here, which is to find the text with the label on the page, do some math, and then place the field next to this, next to the label. So here on the screenshot, you see how it looks like. You get a couple of green fields. You can use the function setTextField value to put in whatever text you like to put in the PDF. For example, we used that years ago for a customer where they create a PDF with the current data for the customer. So their, address, phone numbers, emails, everything in the system. They get the PDF, they can modify it, can send it back, and we can import it, and then we have it updated. A simple way to, replace a web form, because it was 5 years ago. We prefer to have emails.
We do have a question. How much of the DynaPDF stuff is available in MBS without buying that library?
The answer is none, because DynaPDF is a separate library from a different company, and we use it to do all our PDF stuff. Except a few things, we also have PDF kit functions for Mac, and we have Windows PDF functions for Windows, which can do much less. But still, with
The
PDF
short
kit,
version for everyone is that probably the feature you want probably won't be covered, but you can see the list. Don't you have the list on? Do you have that on screen there, Christian, where you have the list of all the default features? Yeah, here we go.
Oh, the DynaPDF feature.
Yeah, they want to know how far they can,
matrix.
because DynaPDF's essentially $1,000 for you or your
For a
company.
big
Or
one,
yeah. So it's basically. So what is starters? That free or is
So
light
starter,
free?
no, starter is about $200. It's just for creating some PDFs. So if you need to create a PDF from scratch, you want to draw something into it, you can use a starter version. Then once you want to import something, you need Lite. So the merging can be done with Lite as well as text extraction.
Yeah.
But if you want to have the rendering engine, single page import, or the
I
optimize
bought
command.
for myself the developer, this third one over there. So I don't have the enterprise, but I have the developer one there. Yeah. Professional. Sorry, not developer, professional.
Yeah.
That way you have everything that you need. And if it doesn't work, you yell at Christian.
Yeah, we make it work.
Which is why you're on the show. It's real simple. People go, how do I get on the show? Make a product that we want, the community wants and needs, and it works, and you're a great tech support person.
So next thing, number 7. Open files with a roundabout road via temporary files. This is the thing. If you have files embedded in your database and user like to launch the file, have it open, for example, Word document open in Word, PDF file open in PDF viewer, or your InDesign file opens in InDesign. So you may want to do that. It's a little trick we use. So here's a sample script. We ask the user for the temporary folder. We calculate the path, and this is using the MBS functions for files. You may do the similar with the FileMaker function. So files wide file allows you to use a plugin to write any file on any location, while FileMakers export export all field values. Well, would need a different path, and on server doesn't write outside the temporary or the documents folder, or the plugin allows you to write everywhere you have a file path and the user has permission, which even works for mounted disks. So if you have
if you
network
put this on
volume-
server, can you write outside the temporary or documents directory on
Yeah.
server?
anywhere.
Really? So back up. So that was okay. So for those of you paying attention with this, FileMaker server is limited when you PSOS something on where it can save to. Margaret, you listening? This is right up your. This is an intermediate kind of conversation here. So on FileMaker Pro, there's only so many places you can save stuff to. It's a pretty good desktop, app directory, documents, temp. On server, it's documents and temp only. That's it. And so the other ones aren't available because they want FileMaker server to be sandboxed so it doesn't talk out the sandbox. Except that if you have MonkeyBread installed, which we bought for BVA, we bought that. They have it installed on the FileMaker server. Then that's like a rope ladder that allows you to rappel outside the sandbox. Your FileMaker server, your FileMaker PSOS script, and get outside of the sandbox. That's important, Mark. That used to be a certification test question. Is like, what could server not do? Right. So
Interesting. Okay.
So then we launch the file, and this will open the file in the default application, and then a little bit error handling. This is something people like to have, so they can have the file in FileMaker, but double click. And then I remember we had older video where we did this, and we had a script watching the file for changes. So whenever the file changes, it could tell you and import it back. Or I think it was simply watching the modification date.
So Margaret, someone says,
I would have to
"Oh,
find
the
it.
marketing department always puts the pricing PDF up on the server, and it's always in the same spot." Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's a lie for starters. It won't be in the same spot, but pretend they're not lying. And they don't, and you say, is the format going to change? Because you can set an import up, and if it was little columns, will it always be named the same thing? Will it always be in the same spot? Will the columns change? Oh no, it'll always be the same. It'll always be the same. Lie, lie, lie. Now let's pretend you believe it's truthful. Then you need to have a PSOS script or something that's going to call what you said modification date to see if the file's been modified once an hour, once every 10, 15 minutes, midnight updates, right?
Yeah.
Right. And then
I may have to correct this. So I think the thing was when you do this, the file comes to the front, so FileMaker goes into the back. And when we come back to FileMaker and you click on FileMaker, FileMaker comes to the front, and then we check if the file changed, and if it changed, we import it back to the container, you know?
Okay.
Okay. But maybe we should do that on another live stream. Okay. Next thing was here a little example for weather data with JSON. So Stephanie takes the time to point out that she made a video about JSON and introduce here a few things about JSON. And I think you all know this by this time. And the thing we want to do here is to do an open weather map API call to ask for the weather on a specific location.
Okay.
This gives us a JSON like this. So if you have, you need to have an API key. So you have to sign up there and
Yes.
that's
What's
key.
what weather service is this? Is this
This is Open Weather Map.
openweathermap.org? Okay.
Yeah. So we get back the coordinates of our location, the weather. So we have clouds, and there's a numeric code, and there's which icon to display, and some temperatures. So we will see. Visibility, okay, we can see 10 kilometers or so. We have wind speed from some angel clouds. This could be useful for all kinds of things, especially if you have an airplane. So, or a helicopter. Yeah. So, okay. So we got a list of the icons here. So for different icons, you show different things. So how cloudy it is. And in this case, we use our JSON function to create the items, but you can also use the built-in FileMaker JSON functions once they got them. So, and yeah, that's it. And now
Ken Tooley says, this weather looks really cool. I'll have to try it.
yeah, it looks like this, and you get the picture, and you get the, and I would bet that's
Need that data too.
yeah. Next time I need to bring an API key. Okay, it looks
It's
like
always
this.
it's always a problem. API keys. It's just the way the world is. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Someone is asking, who is Stephanie? Does Stephanie work for you? Question.
Oh, Stephanie's my coworker. She works for many years here already. Stephanie. Yeah, here, for example, you have a picture of her. She got a
there you go.
spot once for junior developer. And she's working here for, I think, 4 or 5 years already.
Good. Excellent day. All right. Well, let's see. So we got 5 minutes left, thereabouts, maybe a little bit more. Do we have any questions from anyone, or we just keep going here? Margs?
That was kind of like people talking about the weather, people talking about the Dyna PDF.
The Dyna PDF, at the end of the day, almost, I would say half, if you're a FileMaker developer and you get a check for doing development, half of you need Dyna PDF and the other half of you have already bought it. It's that kind of thing. It's like it's nearly 100% you need it sooner or later. It's just customers want their PDFs manipulated. And the only way to really do it is you got MonkeyBread, but then you have that Dyna PDF library on top. Margaret, we're discussing libraries on the phone today. What is a library? How does that matter, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a library. So
Okay.
Can Christian write Dyna PDF? No. Did he download it and then call it? And it does. Yes.
There's another library we can talk about, and that is the archive library. It's a useful library to write and read all kinds of zip files, like here, a
Okay.
zip file.
Okay.
And in this case, we create a zip file. So we
Okay.
have a function.
Mhm.
And I used to have just this one-off functions where you tell it here, zip this file or zip this folder of files. And recently we got this function to create an archive on the fly. So you start with the create command, and then we have an add container command to add a container. We have an add
Is a
file.
container a file? Does a file go in a container? What is that?
Yeah,
What is,
this is to add a file to the archive from a container. We also have a function for adding a file from a file on disk, so you can pass in a path.
so when you said container here, you meant a FileMaker container.
Yeah,
Okay, the word
a container
containers.
field.
Okay, yeah, container field. Okay, yeah. Because container is a generic term, and a lot of people use that word. Okay.
Yeah, but the English language is very overloaded. And when I talk about a container, it's always a FileMaker field.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
this boxes where you put in your lunch, they're not called container in Germany.
What do you
Because
think? Okay.
If someone talks about a window, This is
Yeah.
a window.
Mhm.
The hole in the wall is a fenster in Germany, you know? So we have different
Okay.
words for this. Okay, so you can add files to the archive by using the add container function for a container field, the add file function for file path, and add text if you have just some text in a variable or in a field, and you like to add it to the archive as a file. And then when you are done, you call a function. Yeah, here's add text for adding a text, and then you can close the close function, and then the archive is finished. And you can put it in a container field, you can send it as an email, or you can write it to disk.
Let me end with this real bit quick for you, Margaret. This is another intermediate thing. So when you are writing creating a file on the computer, a lot of times we think about it as a binary operation. Write the file, create on the computer, it's done. Save the image to the computer, it's done. However, and I learned this back when I was coding on the Commodore 64, that you could open a text file, and the operating system and the drive system knew it was open. It's like you've opened a container, not to mess with Christian and his container, but you open a Tupperware container, okay? And you can write into that. And if you suddenly crash and quit and you don't close it officially, then maybe the changes aren't saved or the file's corrupted, that kind of thing. That's why when we make backups of, you say make a recovery or save a copy of FileMaker, it starts at the beginning, and then a bunch of happens at the very end, it closes it properly, okay? That closing the container lid is an important process. And even in FileMaker, you can have a text file where you open or create a new file, it's still open. Maybe you do over 15, 20 minutes. There's a pause in there. And then at the end of that script, or maybe when you come back in an hour or whatever, you run the close the container command, which is going to be called whatever, save it, close it, finish up the archive, whatever. It snaps the lid down on it, and then it's one complete contained container. You can read it for sure, but it's the active action of writing to it. It doesn't have to be binary, which is done, and it's like it can hang open. It can have it left open. And it can happen in there after you leave it open. No, seriously. So this is not a new concept. If anyone has done any serious programming over the years, they know about this. A lot of us don't come from that world. And so it's like, oh, you can do that? I guess that's what he's talking about. So this is,
if you like,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, if you like to send an email to a customer with something like 20 files, you may want to put them in a zip archive. So it's not 20 attachments.
Yeah, that's my problem. I have PDFs that are 80, 90, 100 megabytes. I can't zip those small enough. That's another thing, Margaret. The zip format, even though they call it zip, there's different algorithms in there that are way more savvy. And that's not even a real word. We're way more efficient at saving. Way more savvy, yeah.
So we usually use just deflate here, the default for zip, because, well, that's what everyone can unpack. If you have some fancy newer one, people may not be able to unpack it until they have the proper zip.
Inflate, deflate? Okay.
Yeah, deflate.
Deflate makes it smaller?
Yeah, this is the algorithm from the original zip library. There's another thing with PDF files I may want to tell you, and that is that PDF files are usually compressed already. They have a compression level. And with DynaPDF, we can set the compression level to use for writing your PDF file. And when I'm debugging things, I'm usually setting it to none or 0.
Yes.
So I can drop the PDF on a text file, on a text editor, and see my content. Can see if I did things correctly. And then usually for, sending an email, we use maximum compression.
You understand, Margaret? A PDF in its raw form is actually a text file, which inside that you can read. But if it's compressed, then that text won't be really human readable, probably.
No, it'll come out like that garbled stuff that you see, right? Essentially.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think we are finished for today with 9 of them. We continue then.
We'll continue tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's continue tomorrow.
Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Christian, very much. I will see all of you guys tomorrow.